One of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's biggest supporters has now completely turned against her. Katie Joy, who goes by Without a Crystal Ball, was one of the most vocal supporters of Gypsy Rose over the last few years. Well, she has now completely jumped to the other side and is trying to expose Gypsy for what she says are all lies. This all started after Gypsy Rose's final episode of her new documentary aired, Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup. Katie Joy took to her Instagram and posted this, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's Web of Lies. The final episode of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's reality show aired tonight, and I'm finally at a point where I am done. I watched the show with my mouth on the floor. I watched her flat out lie to Ryan Anderson, then I continued watching her lie over and over. Katie Joy then goes into detail about a situation back in May where she had said she was done with Gypsy and had been talking about her behavior. She did claim that she got a phone call from Gypsy, the two of them talked and made up, and then Katie was back on her side again. That during that phone call, apparently Gypsy told her about meeting up with Ken and sending a picture of her with Ken to Ryan to get him upset. Apparently, Katie Joy got upset about this, and Gypsy's excuse was that she wanted Ryan to catch her in adultery so she could fast track the divorce proceedings. She goes on to talk about the meeting that Ken, Gypsy's new boyfriend, had with her father, and her father said, "Be careful, Gypsy wants to get pregnant," and within 4 weeks, she was pregnant. Then it just gets even messier, and Ryan tells producers that Gypsy the month before told him she was pregnant and didn't know who the father was. Katie Joy goes on to say that she 100% believes Gypsy would lie to both men about the paternity and that Gypsy did want to get pregnant and was actively trying. She ended this post off with saying, "Oh, and last week she was told that Ken and Gypsy aren't doing so well." That same day, she posted this. Gypsy Rose didn't want to parole to her parents' house, so she married Ryan Anderson. Now, she claims she got this information from Gypsy's stepmother, Christy Blanchard. This, however, makes sense to me. They were already engaged. Gypsy didn't want to move in with her family, and she wasn't able to move in with Ryan if he was just a boyfriend or fiance because of the parole. So she ended up getting married in prison so she could move in with Ryan when she got out. She also shared a little piece of the live Gypsy did with Ken when she acknowledged the onesie in the closet that was in the apartment that she shared with Ryan. So there was a onesie in there. Gypsy says she got it at Walmart and just bought it because she thought it was cute. In this post she shared, she wrote and said, "Over the weekend, there's been information provided to me that are making me really start to reevaluate a lot of my thoughts about the situation. I'm working to determine what information is relevant to share in this situation. However, I can say that the information that I was directly provided by Gypsy in May surrounding the circumstances of how she became pregnant are not true. I was provided information that directly contradicts the story she told me and the one she has told publicly. I pride myself on being accurate in my reporting, so I feel a responsibility to correct information as I learn new details." And then she ends it by saying, Gypsy wanted to get pregnant. This pregnancy was definitely not an accident or unexpected in any way. I'll share more later. A lot of people have asked about the Son of Sam law, which prevents people from profiting off of criminal activities. And she posted this, Gypsy Rose acknowledges Son of Sam laws, which prohibit profiting off of a crime. So this was from a live that Gypsy did. Now, she does comment on this and say that apparently Dee Dee's family could go after her for money she's made. And she writes, thus far, no one has taken action against her. This is apparently a risk that she's willing to take. Things just started to go downhill after that. So this was a post that Katie Joy made on her stories. The most dangerous liars are those who think they are telling the truth. And Gypsy Rose seemed to have responded to this in her stories saying, your voice on social media matters, so use it wisely, and a little quote about kindness. Apparently the message was not received by Katie Joy, and she posted this, here is the truth. She starts this post off by saying Gypsy has been lying for months about why she's concerned about her fertility and goes on to say she has a chromosomal microdeletion and that this is why she's been worried. She says that one of the traits of this deletion is a short stature and that Gypsy isn't even 5 feet. She says 75% of the people with this deletion also have mental health issues, developmental and cognitive disabilities. She goes on to say that Gypsy's aware of this but doesn't usually talk about it. And she adds that some of the procedures that she went through as a child were actually needed apparently because of this deletion, but she does specify that Dee Dee took the issue and ran with it. She began diagnosing Gypsy with other diseases outside of the deletion. Gypsy's mom, of course, said that she had cancer, muscular dystrophy, paralysis, seizures because of epilepsy, and none of this was true. She does add, it is possible that Gypsy needed a feeding tube at one point. Failure to thrive is not uncommon with this deletion. She says that all of the worrying about Gypsy's fertility had nothing to do with medications her mother may have possibly given her, but had everything to do with this micro deletion. This, of course, is all coming from Katie Joy, who is now outing Gypsy. And again, things just got worse. She then posted this one. These pictures were posted approximately 2 weeks before the murder. You know what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, although one word comes to mind more than the rest: premeditated. And she added this caption: Gypsy Rose Blanchard sent these photos to Nicholas Godejohn 2 weeks before the murder. She isn't an influencer. And she continued with a post: Gypsy Rose Blanchard, you aren't an influencer. You aren't famous. Gypsy has a PR team that thinks she's going to be an influencer. She sent these pictures to Nicholas Godejohn and posted them 2 weeks before the unaliving of her mother. She's not an influencer. No one should be a fan of this woman. Now, this line she added in this post kind of gets me. She says, Gypsy is one of the most diabolical people that I've ever spoken to in my life. Then why were you speaking to her and why were you supporting her for so long? She adds in this post, Gypsy is one of the most diabolical people that I've ever spoken to in my life. Then why did you speak to her and support her for so long? She continues, I believed her stepmom that Gypsy just needed time and love. There's no fixing her. She is so narcissistic that she doesn't listen to anyone. I wish I would have cut ties earlier. I was honestly too afraid because I know how they go after anyone that speaks out about them. But I'm not going to live in fear. I'm going to speak the truth. I wasn't their friend. They used me. I won't be used. I also won't be a pawn in someone's public game to change narratives. This is who everyone should remember Gypsy Blanchard is when she's pretending that she's famous. And she's been posting several videos to her YouTube channel, including this one called Twisted Love Games. Gypsy Rose Blanchard's cruel antics to try to force Ryan to divorce her. Big blowouts with Ken exposed. She's also now sharing text messages that she's had between her and Gypsy. Gypsy Rose Blanchard contacts TMZ herself as an anonymous source. And here's the text message. I did text TMZ to get ahead of it before they even hear one word from blank. She goes on to say that as long as she has known the Blanchard family, they've used these tabloids to kind of spread stories about Gypsy. She says since Gypsy's release from prison, she has initiated numerous articles to get her narrative out ahead of bad press that could come her way. Her go-to tabloid at the moment is TMZ. This doesn't really surprise me. I think anyone who is in the public eye actually does do this. She also started talking about the separation with Ryan, and she says, in fact, she told TMZ that Ryan and she had a fight that led to her hiding in the guest room. The fight was supposed to be shown on the reality show, and in fact, the article promised that all this would play out on the series. No such fight aired on the show. There was no blowout that came close to all of this. 2 weeks ago, I confronted Gypsy about why this supposed fight was left out, and she stated that she told producers to cut the fight from the show to protect Ryan's reputation. She says that this explanation doesn't make sense to her, and she says it begs the question of what might have happened, or is this just another lie of Gypsy Rose Blanchard? And the most latest one that she shared last night is this. Gypsy Rose Blanchard's $325,000 payday, secret trust fund exposed, hiding cash from her mom's siblings. Will Gypsy be sued by her mom's siblings over massive paydays? In this video, she says that she learned from Gypsy's stepmother, Christy Blanchard, that there's a trust fund in play for the movie Mommy, Dead and Dearest, and that it has $250,000 in it. She then shares these text messages from Gypsy. Gypsy wrote and said, the thing is, I can tell you how much money I've made. My documentary, The Prison Confessions, was $150K. $20K I gave to my parents to pay them back for helping support me in prison, and a lot of it went to taxes. The new one was another $150K, which a lot goes to taxes. Then I have a divorce that Ryan might get half. Now, my book was $110K split between 5 people, including the publisher. My TikTok was not monetized until late February, well after all of my videos that went viral had been posted, so I was not able to collect on any of those videos. I've made $4K on TikTok from my current videos, and other than that, I've never got paid for anything else in the entire time since my crime.